Today I'll be reading from Inanna, Queen of Heaven and Earth. These stories express an amalgamation of Sumerian and Akkadian religious and political beliefs that go back at least 1,000 years before the Sumer were a unified political entity. During the 3rd millennium BC, there were some periodic attempts to unify the various city-states in Sumer and Akkad, and with the increasing political centralization came a concurrent movement to bring together the many local gods and goddesses into one pantheon. Inanna, by her epitaph Queen of Heavens and Earth, subsumed the many local cults to the goddess and combined the earlier, more peaceful fertility goddess with the attributes of the more directing and directive goddess of love. This is the first chapter. In the first days, in the very first days, in the first nights, and in the first years, in the first days when everything needed was brought into being, in the first days when everything needed was properly nourished, when bread was baked in the shrines of the land, and bread was tasted in the homes of the land, when heaven had moved away from earth, and earth had separated from heaven, and the name of man was fixed, when the sky god, An, had carried off the heavens, and the air god, Anil, had carried off the earth, when the queen of the great below, Ershkel, was given the underworld for her domain. He set sail, the Father set sail, Aniki, the god of wisdom, he set sail for the underworld. Small windstones were tossed up against him, large hailstones were hurled up against him. Like onrushing turtles they charged the keel of Aniki's boat. The waters of the sea devoured the bow of his boat like wolves, and the waters of the sea struck the stern of his boat like lions. At the time a single tree, a halupa tree, was planted by the banks of the Euphrates. The tree was nurtured by the waters of the Euphrates. The whirling south wind arose, pulling at its roots and ripping at its branches, until the water of the Euphrates carried it away. A woman who walked in fear of the word of the sky god, An, who walked in fear of the word of the air god, Anil, plucked the tree from the river and spoke, I shall bring this tree to Urkok. I shall bring this tree to my holy garden. Enir cared for the tree with her hand. She settled the earth around the tree with her foot. She wondered, how long will it be until I have a shining throne to sit upon? How long will it be until I have a shining bed to lie upon? The years passed, 5 years, then 10. The tree grew thick, but its bark did not split. Then a serpent who could not be charmed made its nest in the roots of the hoopla tree. The anzu bird set its young in the branches of the tree, and the dark-made Lilith built her home in the trunk. The young woman, who loved to laugh, wept. How Inanna wept, yet they would not leave her tree. She asked her brother, the sun god, Untu, for help. Untu, the valiant warrior, would not help his sister. As the birds began to sing at the coming of second dawn, Inanna called to her brother Gilgamesh, saying, O Gilgamesh, in the days when the fates were decreed, when the abundance overflowed in Sumer, when the sky god had taken the heavens and the air god the earth, when Ershkigal was given the great below for her domain, the god of wisdom, Father Aniki, set sail for the underworld, and the underworld rose up and attacked him. And that time a tree, a single tree, a hoopla tree, was planted by the banks of the Euphrates. The south wind pulled at its roots and ripped at its branches until the water of the Euphrates carried it away. I plucked the tree from the river. I brought it to the holy garden. I tended the tree, waiting for my shining throne and bed. Then a serpent who could not be charmed made its nests in the roots of the tree. The anzu bird set his young in the branches of the tree, and the dark-made Lilith built her home in the trunk. I wept, how I wept, yet they would not leave my tree. Gilgamesh, the valiant warrior, Gilgamesh, the hero of Urkok, stood by Inanna. Gilgamesh fastened his armor of 50 minas around his chest. The 50 minas weighed as little to him as 50 feathers. He lifted his bronze axe, the axe of the road, weighing 7 talents and 7 minas, to his shoulder. He entered Nina's holy garden. Gilgamesh struck the serpent who would not be charmed. The anzu bird flew with its young to the mountains, and Lilith smashed her home and fled to the wild, all to the uninhabited places. Gilgamesh then loosened the roots of the hoopla tree, and the sons of the city who accompanied him cut off the branches. From the trunk of the tree he carved a throne for his holy sister. From the trunk of the tree Gilgamesh carved a bed for Inanna. From the roots of the tree she fashioned a puku for her brother. From the crowns of the tree Inanna fashioned a miku for Gilgamesh, the hero of Uruk.